Hello everyone, in this video I will be showing you the Palram Canopia Snap and Grow greenhouse. I bought this, set it up, and used it for a year. I also have a more in-depth review that covers the general ideas of greenhouse growing on my other channel. So if you want to watch that, I'll put a link in the description below, but this is just a review for this specific greenhouse. So let's get to it. This was the entry-level model, and it really goes bigger from there. This is the official product image of the Canopia greenhouse. And this is, in reality, what it looks like on our patio. It has a good classic look with a frame and transparent panels, but it's not outrageously priced, so it's perfect for us. Now let's talk about assembly and what it's like putting it together. One of the most important steps when you begin to assemble the greenhouse is site preparation and the foundation. So when you prepare the site, follow the directions. You definitely need a solid, level surface. This is very important. We put our greenhouse on a wood frame, and I'll show you a little bit more on that in a bit, but it also keeps the greenhouse very sturdy. You'll also want to make sure it's built on firm ground. We have ours on bricks, so you can't get much firmer than that. Because our greenhouse is in an enclosed patio, wind is not a factor for us, but that's not the case for most people. If you read the reviews, this is one of the biggest issues, so make sure that your greenhouse is well anchored to whatever foundation you choose. You will want to plan on having 2 people for certain steps. This is not like putting together a piece of IKEA furniture. It's not that easy. It's not impossible either, but as you go through the steps in the manual, read a couple steps ahead so that you don't get caught making the mistake of thinking, oh, I'm good, I know what I'm doing, and then you realize a few steps further along that you put something in backward after the fact. It's helpful when you see what's coming next. It makes more sense and you won't get ahead of yourself. And another thing I want to point out is that some of these plastic joints that hold the frame together fit very tightly and they don't move too easily. So we used WD-40 to lubricate the joints before we slipped the aluminum pieces in. WD-40 is not a permanent lubrication. So once it dries, the parts will have a nice, tight, permanent fit and there won't be any residue. The biggest assembly problem that we had, but it's not a deal breaker, was the rain gutter system. It doesn't really work as is, and if you were hoping to collect rainwater, you're going to have to modify the rain gutter so that it will actually redirect the water. Otherwise, it'll just kind of leak through the gaps. Probably some silicone here and there would make it work cleanly. So the last point about assembling the greenhouse. If you buy a 7-foot tall model like ours, that measurement is at the apex of the roof. So if you're 6 feet tall like me, it's kind of crammed inside and you won't move around very nicely. So what we ended up doing was making a frame for the base of 2 stacked 2x6 beams all the way around, and that raises the greenhouse about a foot taller. Adding the extra foot also means that you have more room to grow plants. So it's a 360 win-win-win. Now let's talk about what it's like actually using the greenhouse. It does exactly what a greenhouse should do. It lets in light, it keeps things really warm, and it protects the plants. It tends to be about 10 to 15 degrees warmer than the outside air. And the greenhouse has vents both on the door and on the roof, so we kept those open on very hot days. So the greenhouse not only allowed us to start growing plants earlier than the typical growing season, but with an enclosed area, we were able to install grow lights on a timer, and that extended the light exposure to the plants. But to give an example of what the greenhouse has done for us, normally we would be able to plant in the middle of May and harvest everything by mid-September, sometimes late September. We were able to plant and start growing in early March with the greenhouse. We kept a small space heater during the cold months that would keep the lows above freezing temperatures. And things kept growing into late October and some things early November. That is a huge spread from what we were used to. This year, we're expecting to plant and grow things even earlier in late February, which is absolutely crazy in our climate. So going from a growing season that was in the middle of May through September to late February through early November, that is huge. And it's all thanks to this greenhouse. So now let's talk about durability. At the time of doing this video, the greenhouse has a 5-year limited warranty. Everything is covered 100% by the company in the first year, then it's prorated year after year. But the panels really are quite durable and they're showing no signs of fading or yellowing or any kind of stress. The frame of the greenhouse is aluminum, which is nice since that won't rust at all. As far as temperature and element exposure, it has endured freezing temperatures below 20 degrees Fahrenheit and weather at one point so hot it reached 120 degrees. It might have been higher, but our sensor, our thermostat, stopped reading it at 120. Showed no signs of cracking, stress, or warping of the plastic, which I was wondering about. And while working on this video, we ended up with 4 inches of snow on the roof, and it's holding up well. But I just want to point out that Utah snow is much lighter than other areas. So I would probably say that 10 inches of Utah snow would probably be a maximum load of weight on this roof. But honestly, all of that is just a guess. But it has endured very heavy rain, a couple hailstorms, and the hail was about the size of a large pea without any signs of damage as well. I've contacted their product support department just as a test in doing this video, and they're actually very quick to reply. So that's it. I hope that was helpful for you. Now, if you want to see my other video that has more description about greenhouse growing and ideas and things we modified with this greenhouse, I'll put the link right there on the screen for you. Other than that, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. Have a great day.